Many prominent people who had previously pushed the vaccine are now regretting it. One example would be Nancy Mace. I mentioned her yesterday. Nancy Mace is a liberal Republican who came out. She said, I regret getting the vaccine. I feel I was lied to. I now have vaccine injuries that I've got to deal with as a result of this. And I was impressed because Nancy Mace is a liberal Republican. She's not a conservative Republican. And she had previously pushed the vaccine. She had peddled the vaccine on CNN. She was opposed to the mandates, as far as I can tell, but she still encouraged people to get it. Now she is regretting it. I said, okay, at least good on Nancy Mace for admitting she was wrong. But she still continues to double down on her opposition to the conservative Republicans. She still spends most of her time attacking the more controversial people in her own party, and she spends a lot of her time sucking up to the liberals. She did this yesterday at the National Press Club. Nancy Mace was invited to go there and tell some jokes. It was supposed to be a roast, kind of funny, telling jokes at the press club. Here's the performance.
I know George Santos hoped to deliver tonight's keynote, but organizers, our lovely, beautiful organizers, wanted someone who could tell a joke but not actually be one. Come on, George, you've given Republicans a bad name, and that's Lauren Boebert's job. Just kidding, Lauren, don't shoot. I mean, really, like, who lies about about playing college volleyball? Like, who does that? If you're gonna lie, at least make it about something big. Like you actually won the 2020 presidential election. I was one of the first Republicans, I know there's some New Yorkers in here too, Republicans, who said Santos should resign. Santos should step down to show people you can't lie, cheat, and steal to win an election. Unless, of course, if you're Donald Trump or Joe Biden. I said this so this can air on Fox News and CNN. I go both ways. I mean, come on. You got it. You got it.
It's like watching a bad imitation of Mean Girls. Republican Congress lady Nancy Mace, she says, hey, I'm not a regular Republican. I'm a cool Republican. hey, press. Come on. I'm not like those bad Republicans. I'm a cool mom. Yeah, okay, right. Are you? That's never cool, unfortunately. Even making fun of George Santos, that's fine. It's funny. I've made plenty of jokes about George Santos. But it sort of depends on the spirit in which one makes the joke and the type of person who makes the joke. In that, I can make fun of my brother. You can't make fun of my brother. If I make fun of my brother, I don't even have a brother. I have a stepbrother. If I make fun of my stepbrother, that's fine. That's okay. But if you make fun of my stepbrother, that's offensive. So the question is, what is the perspective Nancy Mace is coming from? Nancy Mace is coming from the perspective of a liberal Republican who, at every chance she gets, attacks conservative Republicans and tries to curry favor with the liberals. You could say, well, this was a roast. People are telling jokes. It's fine. Get a sense of humor. I'm all for that. I think that's a great idea. But Nancy Mace never once told any self-effacing joke. She never made a joke about her own side. Because her side is not Republican. She opposes conservative Republicans. Her side are the liberal, squishy Republicans. And she didn't make any jokes about them. That's really pathetic. And I play that to remind you, there are still a number of those types out there. We think that the conservative party, the Republican Party now is being run by the conservatives, not by the squishes, not by the moderates. But there are still a lot of centrists out there. Governor of New Hampshire, Chris Sununu, is floating the idea of a presidential campaign. I know, it's very silly. Most people have never even heard of Chris Sununu. It's probably not going to happen. But he certainly wants to run for president in 2024. And the way that he is positioning himself is specifically as a centrist.
A lot of the folks that you mentioned and a lot of the folks that we all know who are likely to run for president on the Republican side are more conservative. You're more moderate. Well, president,
really, because I'm ranked the most fiscally conservative governor in the country. I'm number one in personal freedoms, right? I'm sorry, Ron, you're number two. Sorry, Florida. I would challenge anyone on Second Amendment rights. We're far and away the best, because we believe in those individual freedoms. Regulatory reform, I'll challenge any state on it. So am I more moderate on the social issues? Yeah, maybe, but that's not what I got in this game for management. I'm a manager, I'm a CEO. I like to manage and redesign systems. But I would tell you on those social issues, we get better results than almost anywhere else.
There it is. Got to give the guy credit for honesty. He says, I want to be a manager. Mike Bloomberg, this was his pitch to run for president in 2020 as a Democrat. He said, look, I'm a manager. I just want to manage things. That is the exact opposite of what we need in this country. I do not want to manage the decline. I think our country's in decline. I don't want to just manage the decline. I don't want my president, my Republican conservative president, to manage the decline. I want him to fix things. You might not think that, well, you probably do think the country's in decline, but some liberals out there, they might say, no, the country's not in decline, even if it's not in decline. I don't want you just to manage the liberal establishment. I want a conservative to go in there and advocate for good things and pursue good things and oppose evil things. Pursue truth and avoid falsehood. Pursue beauty and avoid ugliness. That's what I want. He says, look, I'm very conservative. I mean, maybe not on those cultural issues. But what is that even, I don't even know what that means. It's like saying, I love coffee, I hate caffeine. You're pretending that you support a thing, but then you oppose the essence of that thing. Oh yeah, I'm just not conservative on the cultural issues. Well, that's the whole story. Okay, you can cut taxes. I'm very conservative. I can conserve tax cuts, maybe. I'm not even questioning whether that certain conservatives can do that. No managers. No managers, no squishes. There is too much at stake. Our government is being run by people who don't know the first thing about the Constitution or political order or the law or anything. And it's not just the infamously ignorant people. It's even the ones with the fancy degrees from the fancy law schools at the fancy think tanks. They don't know anything. They're so ignorant. Our genius experts, whose job it is to be genius expert nerds, get the most basic aspects of their jobs wrong and make us all take experimental drugs that often don't turn out very well. We're in a really tough spot. I do not want someone to just manage the status quo. The status quo is very sick, and we need to fix it. Governor Sununu, you're not going to be the president. You're certainly not going to get my vote if you want to manage this desiccated, degraded status quo.